How's everyone doing? This is Justin with The Fight of Faith. Welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Right now I am recording in World Record Studios with my friend Sammy Saba, aka The Prophet. We're in his home studio, and I've heard the audio that's going to come out of this thing is going to be so clean. So we're going to do this here with my buddy as much as we can. Very clean audio, and for your viewing and listening pleasure. So God bless all you guys. Thank you for listening. This is the episode 18 of the podcast. Welcome. So it's been a little while since we've done a UFC podcast. We've been doing a lot of Word, a lot of Bible, which is great. That's the most important thing. But I realize it's been a little while since we talked about mixed martial arts, UFC, that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to give a little update because a lot has happened, and I think there's a lot for us that we need to discuss. Because this weekend, right now is Friday night, around like 9 p.m. or something, and we have a huge fight coming tomorrow. So let's start with UFC 227. And my friend Sammy here is going to navigate us, be our producer today. So today there was the weigh-ins and the workouts and everything for UFC 227. And the main event for that fight is Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. Okay, and that is for the 135-pound title in the bantamweight division. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to fill you in that Cody Garbrandt had achieved the title from Dominic Cruz, who is like the most dominant champion in that division ever. And but he had a lot of health issues. Dominic Cruz was on the Joe Rogan Experience. He was talking about he didn't feel up to par in that fight with Cody because he had this horrible disease. I forgot what it was called, but he had a horrible sickness in his foot. And the way he described it was something. It felt like he was walking on glass 24/7. There was something wrong with his foot. But regardless, he still fought, and he didn't want to tell anybody because he has been delayed of the title fight for so long. So unfortunately, the dominator Dominic Cruz, he didn't want to delay anymore. So he still fought. And if you notice, when he fought Cody, that was the only time that I remember seeing him with wraps around his feet and his ankles. And so he was really struggling, and you can tell that his footwork he was still moving like his style that TJ kind of stole, but he was still moving like he always did. But you can see Cody acknowledged where he lacked, and he just capitalized. Cody was doing an amazing job with footwork. He was bobbing and weaving. He was dancing and mocking him, and it was an amazing fight. If you didn't see that fight, Sammy, you got to watch that fight. It's Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz, and Dominic Cruz has owned the guy. Cody just owned the guy because from that point, everyone saw like, wow, this guy is mortal. This guy is normal because never before have we seen Dominic Cruz been dominated like that, especially with a young buck coming up from alpha male. And actually, this is such a beautiful story that Cody Garbrandt wrote a book with his friend. I forgot the poor kid's name. Please forgive me, but I believe I don't even want to mention his name because I'm going to wreck it, and I'm not going to do that. But so Cody Garbrandt's from the South somewhere, but he had a friend growing up, a young man who was a boy, probably like 10, 12 years old, and that boy was diagnosed with cancer, right? So, but that boy looked up to Cody, and Cody was a local. He's a wrestling coach at the high school, and he was helping out with the team and whatnot, but his background is wrestling. But this young man got diagnosed with cancer, and things weren't looking too good. And when this happened, he met Cody, became friends, and Cody was also losing faith. He needed some inspiration, so when they both met each other, they immediately befriended one another, and they made a pact together. And Cody was rooting for this kid and said, you know what, I hope you do well, and I pray that you're going to get through this. You're going to fight cancer, and you're going to beat it. You're going to survive. You're going to make this. So the boy not only promised him back, but he's told Cody, I'm going to make a pact with you that if I'm going to keep fighting, because this kid didn't want to fight anymore, he didn't want to live. This kid said, if I'm going to fight for my life, I want you to fight for the title. We're going to make a pact. I beat cancer, you beat Dominic, and you're going to win that title. So those two made a pact, and when that happened, it was a magical moment. That's why after Cody beat Dominic, he brought in the little kid into the octagon and gave him the belt and put the belt on his waist. Beautiful story, and they wrote a book about it called The Pact, and it's an amazing story. So that's why you can imagine what Cody went through after all the smack talk and after everything that happened. TJ Dillashaw knocked Cody out, and it was really it was embarrassing. It was a real downer, but life does that to you. And so Cody's been training hard to get everything accordingly to set up for the rematch, because what was gonna happen was TJ Dillashaw, now the new 135-pound champ, he wanted to go down in weight to the 125-pound division to defeat, or face rather, Demetrius Johnson. Okay, now DJ Mighty Mouse has been the most dominant champion ever. He just tied Anderson Silva's defense record for 11 fights straight, but the problem is that Mighty Mouse, here's the sad thing about the lower class divisions. For the 125-pound, 135-pound, you don't see a lot of press for those guys, and it's really sad. I think Demetrius Johnson, out of all those fight and title defenses, he probably only has 1, 2, maybe 3 on pay-per-view. All of them were on fight nights. All of them were on UFC on Fox, free television. And this guy is the most dominant champion in the sport right now. So it's sad for the guy. And he's so tiny, honestly. I think Demetrius Johnson can even make 115 pounds, because he doesn't have to cut a lot of weight to make 125. And he's always the smaller guy. I can't imagine. Well, I mean, some of the best fights was him and Dominic Cruz at 135, but he was just simply too small for that weight class. So that's why they basically created the weight class for 125 for Demetrius Johnson, and he's never lost since. The best fight he had was with Elliott from the Ultimate Fighter finale for the flyweights, because they wanted to find someone that can beat Demetrius Johnson, so they created a whole Ultimate Fighter series just to find someone who can actually compete. And so Elliott came close, but no cigar. He couldn't defeat Mighty Mouse. Who can, right? So that's why Joe Rogan even says that Mighty Mouse is probably the best fighter we have, pound for pound. Technically speaking, he makes no mistakes. He capitalizes all on your mistakes, and he's quite a fighter. So as far as that, all that I said was because not Cody, but TJ, when he won the belt, he wanted to go down to face Mighty Mouse in 125. But I said to myself, there's no way that he's going to make weight, because I don't know if you ever seen TJ Dillashaw weigh in at 135. He looks like a toothpick, all right? And this is not healthy. He is because he is a ripped guy already, and he has no fat to lose. He's always lean and ready to fight in the camp. I can't imagine how much more weight he's going to have to cut from his camp weight all the way down to 125 pounds just to fight Demetrius Johnson. Keep in mind, that's going to be an amazing fight if that happens, and we need super fights like that, but I don't think that's going to happen, man. That's why DJ got a lot of clapback from the public, saying that he was wussing out, and he didn't want to man up to face TJ. That's not true. All he asked was, okay, you're coming down to my weight class. I don't even know if you can make weight. And keep in mind, a lot of pullouts have been happening lately because of weight class, because of weight cut issues. So Demetrius said, hey, I have a huge record on the line, so why don't you go ahead and make weight for once at 125 pounds just to prove that you can get down there healthily, and just go make your first fight. And if he can fight down there in 125, then he can come for the 125-pound title. And Demetrius was all for it. But he didn't want to do that. TJ Dillashaw wanted to go straight to the title fight, and that ain't happening. So, with that said, I think that's the main issue with this whole UFC that's going on tomorrow night, UFC 227, and that's going to be at the Staples Center in LA. And the thing is that how important this is, because both guys want Demetrius Johnson. Both guys want the super fight. Both guys want to make that extra paycheck. Because if Cody wins, Cody is going to win by knockout, which will be awesome. And if he wins, he's either gonna rematch Dominic Cruz, or Cody is going to go down to Mighty Mouse, because actually Cody, he doesn't have to cut a lot of weight to make 135. He's actually walking in the 140s already, and barely touching 150, so he doesn't have to cut a lot of weight to make weight. So he's already lean dude, so I feel more comfortable with him making the 125-pound bracket than TJ, because TJ is a little bit bigger, I believe. So with that said, if TJ wins, he's going to want to go down to 125. But if Cody wins, he also is going to want to go down to 125, but he might have to rematch Dominic Cruz, because I'm sure Dominic is waiting. Why do you think Dominic never rematched after the loss? Because he wants to hold on and get that shot back. So he doesn't want to make the risk of getting unhealthy or pulling out of a fight, cutting weight, whatever, and losing a fight. He wants to stay in contention for a rematch. So that's the biggest thing I'm taking from 127. So Sammy, for the next UFC, for 128, what do we got going on for the main event for UFC 128? Because I have it on my phone, but I forgot already. Because we have, I watched a press conference, the 25-year anniversary press conference they had with Dana White. So who do we got? You can tell me. Who's
Mauricio Rua.
Yeah, Shogun.
Uriah Faber. And Jim Miller.
Okay, but who's the main event for the
Shogun is with John Jones.
228?
Oh, my bad.
Is that UFC 28?
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, we got John Jones and Shogun. I'm like, John Jones ain't coming back, man. Not anytime soon. I wish.
I didn't really get anybody excited.
Yeah, you got me excited, man. He put in UFC 28 and got me all heart-throbbed. Okay, oh yeah, so that's Darren Till. Okay, versus UFC 228, it's going to be Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley. Okay, now this is another story. Oh my gosh, okay. So Tyron Woodley, he had to get shoulder surgery. That's why he's been out. Okay, a lot of people throw hate on him and give him flack. But you know what? I gotta respect the guy, because the way he knocked out Robbie Lawler, monster. Tyron Woodley is a beast, man, and he is built for this thing. He is a monster. But I gotta admit, I was not really a fan after I watched his fights with Stephen Thompson, even with the rematch, because I don't know, man. It's just like I felt like a lot of people felt that he was just being very safe and not really executing the finish. He was more point fighting, and he was bringing the fight not to knock out Stephen Thompson, which is a very risky task in the first place, but he was more reserved to just counter Stephen Thompson. But the problem is that Stephen Thompson is a counter striker. He is a karate guy. So he's more of a point fighter. So both guys in both fights were both waiting for counters, and no one was throwing. If they throw, it would be no combos. It was just like one hit, one kick. Very irritating. So that's why I think a lot of people, that's why I don't really follow Tyron Woodley anymore. And it doesn't really help that he goes around complaining all the time. He plays the race card. He says, Dana White doesn't advertise me as champion. He doesn't treat me like a champion. And I think he's just playing victim a whole lot, But as far as for a guy that works so hard, he's a Christian, he's a believer, and I bless him. I love that guy. I love his work ethic. I think he's a great champion, and he's a very active champion, if that. But at the same time, man, like, why do you always got to be complaining about stuff, about what you don't have, and comparing yourself to other champions? It's like, no, man, like, you get what you get, and you're a hard worker, you're a champ, you're the best. Why do we keep complaining, right? But here's the thing, when that happened, and he was out for a while, I think he was out for a year for shoulder surgery. So that's why they had that interim title fight with Colby Covington and RDA with Rafael dos Anjos. By the way, side note about Rafael dos Anjos, really good man of God. That's why you never see him cuss. That's why you never see him disrespect anybody to a measure. It's because actually, I forgot which church, but it was a church in Las Vegas on Sahara. and he was going to speak at a men's conference, and I didn't make it, but RDA, the UFC fighter, he was the lightweight champ actually before he got hurt, and Conor ended up fighting for the 155 title. I forgot that guy from Bellator. Shoot, I can't believe I forgot his name. But Conor got the 155 title because RDA basically was supposed to fight Conor, but he hurt his foot. He broke his foot in camp. Wasted. So since he didn't really capitalize on that championship in the lightweight division, he went up to 170. Talking about RDA now, and he made a killing at 170. He was on a rampage, and let alone he didn't have to cut too much weight, so he was always the smaller guy at 170. But RDA was a killer, bro, because he knows he's a smaller guy, and he would just outwork everybody, period. And he would like gladly outwork you. He knows you're the bigger guy. He knows that you probably can knock him out, but he ain't gonna let you. I love RDA for that. Respect. And to my brother in Christ, right? But now, after Colby outworked him, which was very impressive because I didn't see that coming. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Colby kind of came out of nowhere. Honestly, he got more on the scene because he was talking a lot of smack about Brazilians in Brazil, right? And it all started, honestly, let's be real. Colby Covington got famous because Verdum threw a boomerang at his head. Legit. That's what happened. And when he was outside of the conference, and Verdum, he heard Colby Covington talking a lot of smack about Brazilians, and then Verdum, being a heavyweight, started cussing him out. And then so when they were having an altercation, Verdum, no, it was in Australia. It was because he had a boomerang. He bought a souvenir, and he threw that at Colby Covington's head. And then that's when it all hit the fan. No, it was just in the bag, so it didn't come back. And he just threw it, and then that's how Colby really got the spotlight that he has now. And honestly, do you know who Colby Covington is? No, right? Because why? Because nobody really knows him. And anyone that does know him, I mean, like, I'm not a super hardcore fan, but I do know of him just because I'm a fan. But to the masses, nobody knew who Colby was until he started talking smack, until he got a boomerang thrown at his head. He made the headlines and he started talking smack. Honestly, that's how he got his shot. I'm sorry. He's a great fighter, and he would definitely kill me. But I'm just speaking honestly that that's how a majority of people found out who he was. He got in the spotlight for talking, and he wanted to press charges after talking all that smack to Verdum. The word of advice, okay? If there's a 6'5", 250-pound Brazilian guy covered in tattoos, you don't make fun of him, okay? And especially has a boomerang in his hand, okay? And that's just old news, but that's Colby's that's his uprising to the title. So he beat RDA for the interim title. And here's the sad thing. I mean, he's low-key racist. I mean, like, he's not really racist, but he's low-key racist, you know? He's not racist, but he's racist, you know? And he proudly, he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wear my MAGA hat, Make America Great Again, and I'm gonna throw that belt right on Donald Trump's desk in the office, you know? And like, okay, bro, you know, like, you call Brazilians savages, you got a boomerang thrown at your head, you're talking all this smack, and he hates on everybody. He's an ultimate troll on social media. And honestly, like everyone says, he likes to play that bad guy role, and it works for him. So I mean, but as far as people that actually know him, I'm sure he's a great guy. He's a nice guy. But at the end of the day, his title's getting stripped, okay? Because I think they just saved the event with making him an interim champion. They wanted to keep the ratings up and keep people interested in the UFC. But at the end of the day, it was just to save the pay-per-view, honestly. And so because he's getting surgery, he's not fighting Tyron Woodley. That's why Darren Till came in the mix. Now, if you don't know who Darren Till is, Google him. If you don't know who he is, YouTube him, because that dude is a monster. I have no idea how he makes 170 pounds. He is easily walking around at 210. This dude is huge. This dude is a monster. And after seeing him fight, you know why they call him the Gorilla. This dude is a beast. He's from England. He has a weird accent, and his eyes are a little bit small, but it's okay. He is a monster. And you look at him, and he's a killer, dude. Like, the way that he put away Donald Cerrone was embarrassing. And I met Donald Cerrone. I love him. We're buddies. No, we're not. But I wish we were. And I met him before at the expo. Now, me and Donald Cerrone are the same height, okay? Definitely not the same weight class because I have a lot of weight to lose, right? But Darren Till put him away easily, very easily. But you know, why would someone even say that? But you know what, Darren Till is huge. Okay, Darren Till, I don't know if he can really beat Tyron Woodley. I don't even know if he even ready for this. I mean, like, let's just say that because who are we to say, right? Let's just say that Tyron Woodley is an ultimate amazing champion, but at the same time, Darren Till is like the uprising dude. He's a dude that's hungry, and when they did the face-off at the weigh-ins, they saw each other, and they saw that, and they said, "Oh, I don't see no fear in this guy's eyes. I'm ready. I'm ready for this fight." Cool. Yeah, they're down to fight, and they want to fight each other. Props. But I think that's going to be a great fight. I think that everybody is going to be able to enjoy the fight because those guys are monsters. And so the next one that we're going to talk about is UFC 229. Okay, but I think we're good on that. I think we're good because you know what's the main event for that one, Sammy? It's going to be Conor versus Khabib.
Oh, snap.
Okay, and that just got announced today. Okay, so UFC 229 is going to be in October in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, and it's going to be Conor versus Khabib. And Conor is no longer the champion. Conor's title got stripped, and what he did is he's gonna face Khabib, and Khabib is amazing. He is amazing. He is undefeated, and I don't think Conor's gonna win. I don't think Conor's gonna win.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
I mean, have you seen Khabib, bro?
Have you seen Conor?
I love Conor. I'm like the #1 fan of Conor. When I talk about him to my friends, and like my wife makes fun of me because of how much I love Conor. But at the end of the day, I want Conor to win. My heart says yes, Conor's gonna make it. But look at Khabib, bro. Look how he fights. And Conor's two issues that we've seen throughout his career is takedown defense and cardio. And that is exactly what Khabib is amazing at. He is amazing at cardio, and he's amazing at takedowns. So
he's also a little overconfident.
Yeah, he is.
Underestimates people.
He underestimates people when he eats tiramisu a lot. And that last fight he had with, who did Khabib fight with? His last one, it wasn't with Tony Ferguson because Tony Ferguson got hurt. And by the way, praying for you, Tony. That really sucks. When you're the champ and you're waving to somebody with your glasses on indoors, hello, and he tripped on some cable wires or something, and broke his ACL or something, or his meniscus.
He fought Al LaQuinta.
Al LaQuinta, that's who it was. Bro, praying for Tony. That is the saddest story I ever heard, because Tony earned that through an interim fight. He earned that fight, and he earned the title, and then he trips on some wire, and then, lo and behold, the title is stripped from him. Poor Tony, bro. He's still in the mix. We still know that you're good, bro. You're still training with Eddie Bravo at 10th Planet. God bless you, man. I know you're still doing your Wing Chun, and you're still staying on top of your game, but that's the saddest story ever, bro. You deserve to still be in the game. So hopefully he gets the winner of this, but I really doubt it because it's going to be a money fight. And that's not with Tony. I'm sorry. But so anyway, now that with that huge ordeal that I believe that's the topic of my last episode about UFC. I was talking about how Max is going to step in last minute, and it was supposed to be for Tony versus Khabib for the interim lightweight title at 155. But the problem is when Tony got hurt, Max Holloway comes in on 9 days notice, say, hey, even though I'm weighing 190, 185, let me try to make the weight. I'm going to save the day. And I love Max. I'm from Hawaii too. I love you, bro. I wish I can have you on the show one day. But you know what? He couldn't make weight. And that was a bummer. And then let alone, he was supposed to have another fight. But and then he pulled out the day before because he was having like stroke-like symptoms and concussion-like symptoms. praying for you, Max. Hopefully you can get healthy because you're a monster. But seeing how Khabib dominated Al Iaquinta, let alone, I didn't expect Al to win, but he did great. And yeah, I mean, for what it was, right? Al didn't know. I don't think he was prepared for Khabib because Khabib is another level of a fighter. But but Khabib really underestimated, like Sammy said, he really underestimated Al, and he wanted to stand and trade with Al, and he did good against Al. But if you try to stand and trade with Conor, you're getting knocked out, and that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I'm rooting for Conor. I love Conor, and that's all I can do is just root, because at the end of the day, realistically, in the real world, even though in my heart I feel Conor's gonna win, oh, that'll be so cool, but reality sets in after you think about it. Khabib can easily put him away. But if he is cocky, and if he wants to stand and trade with Conor, and he refuses to take him down and ground and pound like he always does, he's gonna lose. And that's the only way he's gonna lose, because Conor is not gonna take him down. I'll tell you that right now. Khabib is wrestling Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, and Cain Velasquez on a daily basis at AKA in San Jose, California. Khabib ain't getting taken down by Conor. 100% bet. But it depends. How cocky does he want to be? How does he want to act? We'll see. But at the end of the day, that's the UFC 229, and that was like the big announcement, right? For Conor versus Khabib. I thought they were gonna do that in Russia, but I guess like they would, like, it'll be so dope and crazy that they would create like an earthquake or something. I think it'll be too hype. So they did that in the T-Mobile Arena with someone who can actually handle the capacity for the anticipation of this huge fight. So this is gonna be an amazing fight. Watch it for UFC 229 is going to be with Conor versus Khabib. Amazing. UFC 228 is going to be Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley for the welterweight title. And tomorrow, UFC 227 is going to be Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. Right? Not bad for my memory. For people know me, they know me that my memory is kind of sometimes. But anyway, you know what? But here's my dream. Okay, I'm going to tell you my dream. That I wish in a perfect world, this is what I want Conor to accomplish, right? How much time do we have? Are we doing like half hour, 20 minutes?
27 minutes.
27, okay, perfect. So I'm going to end it with my dream, okay? In a perfect world, this is what I want to do. I was texting my friend Cody about this, and so I'm going to mention it to him. Something that I already mentioned to him. So in a perfect world, this is what I want to happen. Like, most likely not going to happen, but this is what I want to happen. With a miracle of God and a move of God, that Conor beats Khabib somehow, okay? And he retains the 155 title that he beat Eddie Alvarez with, okay? I remember the name from before. That was who I was trying to remember. So Conor beat Eddie Alvarez before, and if, which is a big if he beats Khabib Nurmagomedov, he deserves that 155 title, right? But hear me out. If you've noticed, there's been a huge issue with weight cutting, and a huge issue because some people who are, and here's an example. The jump from 170 to 185 may not sound like a lot to people, but someone who are aware of someone cutting so much weight for just a fight, that is a whole difference in the ball game. That is a big jump, right? So some people that can't make it to 170 and they're forced to go to 185. Give an example. The two people that are successful, even though they originally belonged in the welterweight division, is Robert Whittaker and Kelvin Gastelum. And they were both at the top of the food chain, and then Robert Whittaker ended up climbing faster and being the champ. But he first fought in welterweight, and these guys are simply just too big for 170, and simply just too much to they can't make the weight. But what if we established a new weight class? And we don't have to be on 30 minutes exactly, but what if we establish a weight class? Let's move up, okay, from everything at the fives. So 125 featherweight, 135 bantamweight, 145 featherweight, 155 lightweight, 165 welterweight. Okay, hear me out. I know it sounds weird. And then super welterweight, 175. Okay? Hear me out. If we do that, we are able to have people like Kelvin Gastelum, people like Robert Whittaker, they're able to go into the original weight class of 175 welterweight, or that'll be super welterweight, right? But the people that are a little bit too big for 155, but they're forced to go to 170, which is also another big jump of 15 pounds, right? People like that would be Kevin Lee, right? I think Kevin Lee would be great for that. And he cuts a lot of weight to go to 155. People like Benson Henderson, I know he's not in the UFC anymore, but he would have to go on the door of death to make 155. But I think it'll be easier and create more champions if we introduce that new weight class. Same thing at from light heavyweight to 205 to heavyweight to max 265. That is a huge discrepancy. Like it's a huge ball game where that's why the headhunters in the heavyweight division is like the Wild West. It's really it's pretty crazy. It's up in the air. So it's better to have 205 lightweight, 225 heavyweight, and then anything over 245 heavyweight. Let's do that. Why not? Because you're introducing more possibility of pay-per-view numbers, creating more champions, and you're enabling people to make money and be in a healthier weight cut, right? Who, if they find themselves in between the three, like between 185, 205, another big jump, when I go to 195, right? Things like that. That will change the game. Because I've said all of that because this is my dream. What if, hear me out, Sammy, let me see if you like this idea. Conor, former 145-pound champ, featherweight. Conor, former 155-pound lightweight champ, right? He already got those two, champ. Let's go for champ, okay? What if we created a 165-pound title, okay, and then move welterweight up to 175, and let's make GSP versus Conor for 165. GSP he's already a legend for at welterweight 170. He already beat 185 champ Michael Bisping. Let that go, and both guys are able to have a chance of be a triple division champion. And let's meet in the middle, folks. Let's have GSP go down to 165 because he is planning on eventually fighting at 155. That's what GSP said. Because GSP even got sick. He ate so much chicken and broccoli and eggs that he got sick from going up to 185. You saw him. He was yoked, but he was throwing up before the fight, he said. He's just eating too much. He can't. But then also, Conor will be able to do 145, 155, and 165. So let's meet in the middle. Let's do it. That'll be amazing, but that's my dream. Probably not gonna happen, but that's like a storybook ending.
If it does happen, I'll bring in the beers.
Yeah, and that'll be a storybook ending for both fighters. GSP is able to ride off into the sunset with like the millions of dollars. Conor doesn't really need the money, but that solidifies him as the GOAT, especially if he beats Khabib, and especially if he beats GSP. That's what Brendan Schaub was saying on his podcast, and that's all she wrote. That's all he needs. And he doesn't need to fight anymore. Just go off and just buy Bugattis and wear leather like he always does. Right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. It's been a little while since we talked about UFC. Thank you to my friend Sammy for letting me use his studio. Beautiful home studio at World Record Studios. To anybody in the Las Vegas area, Henderson area that needs mixing, mastering, who needs professional audio work, and you listen to the podcast and you like how it sounds, it's because my boy Sammy. So hit him up. I love you guys. And I'll have another devotional out this Sunday or Monday and we're going to stay in the Word, keep strong, and keep fighting the good fight of faith. And I love you guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. God bless, and take care.